Hey guys, this is Bryce and Caitlin, and we are going to be presenting on the leisure coping theory and the self-determination theory. And let's get started with the leisure coping theory. This was created in 2002 by Colleen Hood and Cynthia Carruthers, and there are two approaches to coping, and those are reducing or eliminating the negative demands of the situation and increasing one's positive resources. Coping is defined as constantly changing cognitive and behavioral efforts to manage specific external and/or internal demands that are appraised as taxing or exceeding the resources of the person. And there are four stages of coping. The first is appraisal, which the person determines the meaning of the situation and the implications for their well-being. Then there's assessment of the coping resources. So the person will select a strategy that will be best for them. The next is they will apply the coping strategy, which they will actually be performing the activity. And then there's the evaluation, where they will evaluate the effectiveness of the strategy's ability to reduce stress. And so for the unique language of this theory, there's problem-focused coping and emotion-focused coping. Problem-focused coping is when the participant attempts to manage or alter their problem, either by focusing on something in the external environment or something within oneself. And the strategies for this would be basic problem solving, adjusting personal motivations, enhancing skills related to the problem. For emotion-focused coping, this is when a person adjusts their emotional response to the situation that they're in. And the strategies for this are to reappraise the importance of the problem, seek distractions, avoid the problem, and accept the situation. And the application for this, it can be used on anybody that is affected by stress, but if the client feels that their situation is too stressful or that leisure would make it worse, then this might not be the most appropriate method. And we need to assess the client's belief of using leisure as a coping tool, and they need to be educated on leisure, and we need to provide them with leisure opportunities. To assess the effectiveness of this, we can use the positivity self-test, and this will help with the perception of the situation. And then there's the leisure resource asset mapping, which will give you the resources that are available. And then there's the leisure and recreation involvement, which will give the perception of leisure. And the outcomes that are wanted are to provide ongoing opportunities to participate in meaningful and enjoyable leisure. And the best way to do this is to increase their positive resources. So with physical, that will help with their health, fitness, and energy. Psychological will be with their self-esteem, decision-making skills, change self-talk to positive self-appraisals. For social, that will be companionship, friendship, and intimate relationships. And for lifestyle, that will be leisure, enjoyment, and community involvement. And that's it for the leisure coping theory.
Alright, so up next we have the self-determination theory, and there was a lot of information for this theory, so I hope you guys are ready to learn. The history of the theory, so it was created in 1985 by Edward Deci and Richard Ryan, and throughout the, history of this theory, they have added different mini-theories to it, which we'll go ahead and talk about right now. So currently the 5 theories are cognitive evaluation theory, which is how social contexts affect intrinsic motivation. There's the organismic integration theory, which is the internalization of intrinsic motivation and how it affects a person's autonomy. Causality orientation theory, which is an individual differences that cause people to orient to different environments and regulate their behavior in different ways. The basic psychological needs theory, so each need and behavior has an effect on our well-being. The goal contents theory looks at the impact of intrinsic and extrinsic goals on well-being. So the definition of this theory is it is an approach to human motivation and personality that highlights the importance of a human's evolved inner resources for personality development and behavioral self-regulation. And there are 3 basic needs, which are autonomy, competence, and relatedness. And this visual just kind of, I don't know, I like visuals and thought this was a good one that gives you the definition of autonomy and competence and relatedness. Autonomy is the need to control our lives and the things that go on in our lives. Competence is the need to be effective in dealing with our environment, and relatedness is the need for close, affectionate relationships with other people. Something unique about this theory is that it views self-determination not only as an individual problem, but an environmental one as well. And there are supportive conditions of the environment will affect how those 3 needs are met. A supportive environment fosters intrinsic motivation, curiosity, and responsibility, which are all traits that lead to self-determination. So application for us as TR specialists, this theory can be used with all populations. There was a quote in the book that said self-determination is seen as a basic human right for all people. So everybody can use this theory. Everybody can, take control of at least some part of their life, and so we can use this theory in any situation. And then we also need to assess the client's preferred activities because intrinsic motivation is a large part of this theory. We want to make sure that we are doing activities that the client will want to participate in and will want to continue. And then it's also important to help the client be a part of the planning process so that they can learn how to create goals and reach those goals as part of self-determination. And because it's an environmental issue, we also need to be supportive and make sure that we're doing our best to be considerate and help boost the self-esteem of our clients. And then this was just a table that was taken from the book that has a couple more additional ways to enhance self-determination. So it's on page 229 if you guys want to take a look at that later. There's a lot of great suggestions in there. So potential assessment tools that we can use when we are creating a program with this theory is we can look at leisure interests, preferences, and passions. And there's one assessment that's called Discovering Your Passion Interview. And it's a set of questions that include things like what lights you up? Do you remember a time that you felt really proud of yourself and what were you doing at that time? And that's just a way to kind of help us figure out what activities our client will like and what they will be motivated to continue to do. There are cognitive strengths assessments, and one is the Learning Strengths Inventory. And so this will help us discover the intelligent strengths of our participant and how they learn, which will allow us to plan strategies that are more effective and lead to more successful outcomes. And then the last example that I have is a spiritual and psychological strength assessment, and it's the Aspirations Index. And this is more about figuring out the goals of the client, learning their goals and what they want to do with their life and get out of their life. And so this really helps us to, I don't know, just, get that end goal of this is what the client's going to be working on and how we can help them so that they are excited to reach those goals and know how to reach those goals. The outcomes desired for success, there are 6 that I found. The first one is autonomy, and that's the ability to act on your own behalf according to your priorities and the values and have a function of independence. There's self-awareness, which is understanding your abilities and limitations and values and beliefs. Self-actualization is the build-up of those unique abilities that you've discovered and then actually using them and putting them to good work. There's the self-advocate, which is just being able to communicate and assert your ideas and preferences. There's self-confidence, which is ability to make decisions and follow through on those decisions. And then self-regulation is your ability to control your behavior and emotions. And that's it.